Hey everyone, what a delight to be talking with you today. It's an amazing moment because we are just a couple months, almost like 3 or 4 months away from Singapore. And I wanted to talk to key elements, key people in our team. And we've got Steve Burgess, the regional director for the Pacific region here. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Pastor Phil. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, good to see you. And we've got Steve and Lizby Warren, who are overseeing Europe.
Hi,
great to be with you.
Yeah.
And we've got Jacob Leung, who is managing and overseeing the entire event. And obviously, we select him because he always does such a great job. Great to have you here, Jacob.
Thanks, Pastor Phil.
Yeah, so we've only got 2 weeks before the end of January when the early bird price finishes. So I wanted to really urge all of us around the movement and anybody beyond who wants to come to take advantage of that and make sure that we are actually registered. How's it going with that, Jacob?
Yeah, it's really good, Pastor Phil. It's we're coming up to the end of early bird, which finishes on the 1st of February. So make sure you get registered pretty much by Jan. And if you do that, you're saving at least $75 Australian dollars. So currently pricing is $275. But as of February, it's going to $350. So be sure to get registered before the end of January for conference in Singapore, 15th to the 18th of May. It's only 4 months away. Ish. So as of this recording, so really exciting. And we've just seen a massive take up over the past couple of weeks after Christmas. We've just hit the 500 mark. So yeah, really believing to see a real big influx now as we really come up to the event.
I mean, Europe are doing so well up there, Steve and Lizby. Your guys are picking it up, and it's a long trip. But not too long. It's not right around the globe. It's kind of halfway down. And in terms of getting to the conference, I mean, there's got to be a lot of flights that have got good deals going on. And I know people are putting alerts in their flight apps to get the cheapest prices. But there's got to come a point, obviously, where we commit and we say, okay, let's not gamble for a better price anymore. We'll take a hold of the price that we got here. But to take advantage of this early bird, you guys have really done well up in Europe.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, well, we had a regional conference quite recently and gave us a great platform to get as many people on board as possible. And, it's such a great community vibe here. People are WhatsApping each other going, what hotel are you staying in? What flight you're taking? And I think that's all part of the whole conference is that sense that let's hop on a plane together. Let's stay in a hotel together. Let's make this an adventure. So that's certainly just part of what we're trying to stir.
Love that. How the girls getting together up there, Lizby?
Oh, they're getting together well. That's a great. Are
they excited about the conference?
Yeah, some of them are even coming with, they're coming and sharing rooms with each other. They're really excited to come. Yeah, people are going out of their way to really to work out how it works for them. So whether some of them are coming as a whole family. Like we've had people go, we're bringing our kids, we're going to do whatever, we'll tack on a holiday. So people are trying to make the very most of it by bringing as many as they can. So it's super exciting. A lot of the girls are talking about it together. So
yeah, fantastic. I loved what you just said, Steve, too, about the WhatsApp groups, because the Pacific region have one of the most active WhatsApp groups going on. And what you said there is it may be even the highest plus of coming together. I mean, the content of the conference is going to be absolutely awesome, but that fellowship factor, it can't be replaced. I mean, having online conferences, online church is okay, but you don't get flying on a plane together or driving in a bus together or meeting in the lobby of a hotel together. You just get that sort of bare content. And yet those moments of all finding out all about each other in the hotel lobby and the supper rooms afterwards. That really is where the high value is. And I know that in the Pacific region, I was in New Zealand recently with Steve and Dawn Burgess, who oversee that area. Their sense of community in C3 there is phenomenal. And you guys in the Pacific, Steve, are doing really good with the Regos. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, I think we are a global family, and this is a part of being a part of a global family is we prioritize connection. And, there's a great sense of community in the local church. It's better again to have a sense of community in the region that you're a part of. But what an opportunity for us to gather together as a global community from all around the world. This is what we're doing this year. Regardless of whatever else is going on locally, regionally, in C3, this is what we're doing this year. We are gathering together as a global family in May in Singapore. Now's a great time to register. And, I think one thing that's really important for us is to make sure that we're getting our youth leaders there, our young adult leaders there. So it's not just all us old guys, it's also the next generation of C3 as well. So we can't wait to be a part of it, and paying the rego and getting a flight, that's a small cost really. And Singapore, by the way, is super accessible. There is nowhere that you can't get to from Singapore. There are so many great holiday spots in the region. So come along, come to the conference, plan a holiday at the end of it. It's going to be great.
It's fantastic. And, Jacob, I think we need to get as a really high-level attraction moment in the conference the fact that Steve Burgess is emceeing one of the meetings.
That's the main draw.
Maybe on the Leaders' Day.
That would be the main draw.
I don't know if that's a selling point. We tend to stick with Mac Lakey's coming, Ellie Linebear, and then we have Steve Burgess doing something really quickly.
It'll be amazing. Hey, Australia's really doing well with registrations, right?
Yeah,
Jacob?
It's amazing. Pastor Phil, Lars and the team have done an incredible job. So their original target was 300, but they're already at 260. So it's incredible how quick Australia is really keen to get there. It just goes to show just the community impact as well of just everybody just wanting to come together, get the big family reunion happening. So yeah, Australia is being really well represented at conference. So that's so exciting just to see all the Aussies getting up there for a great week.
I think we'll go past that number, won't we? I think
Definitely.
Most regions are feeling pretty excited about it. It's the first time we've gotten together globally for about 10 years?
Yeah, I believe it's actually a bit more than that. The last time we got together would have been in KL. So yeah, we haven't done this in a very long time. So super excited. I think it's good to touch on the schedule as well, because it is similar for those who may have been to Presence before. It is very much like a Presence schedule. We don't start till 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So your morning's off. Sure, you can have a sleep in, but it's also a great time to have connection as well, catch up with friends, family, your congregation, whoever else you're bringing. And then sessions will be finishing at 8 p.m. that night with a little bit of a dinner break for 2 hours. So yeah, there's so much to see and do as well around Singapore. So 8 p.m. In Singapore specifically, late night dinners are the thing to do. If you're having dinner at 6 p.m., you're essentially having lunch there. So 8 p.m. is dinner time. So yeah, great places. So everything's in walking distance as well from the venue in terms of food, where the venue's actually quite incredible too, Pastor Phil. Lizby, you might like this, probably Steve as well. You can go downstairs from the venue and go shopping. It's a massive mall downstairs. Get your makeup, Steve. Get some clothes. There's so many different options. So yeah, it's a really great location in the heart of Singapore, in the Marina Bay area. So I think also just something to really touch on as well, Pastor Phil, is for people that haven't been to Singapore, knowing it's an Asian country, is just really highlighting how safe it is. Pastor Phil, you've been there so many times.
Hundreds of times.
Hundreds of times. It is a very, very safe country. it's probably one of the best places to go if you've never been to Asia before. Singapore is a great starting.
That's
Can't
totally
highlight that enough. So if you're a bit of a nervous or anxious traveler, Singapore is a great, safe location to come to.
Just moving on to that idea of the content of the conference, one of the things I'm asking, and I'll ask people to do, is please don't make restaurant reservations for after the meeting, unless you make them really late, because I want us to not let those sort of things adjust our agenda for meeting with God and for a touch of God, a move of God, the altar calls, because I really want people, especially pastors and leaders who've been through so much in the last few years, to have an encounter with God. And it takes time. You can't just have an express encounter, a drive-through encounter with God, a takeaway encounter. It's not fast food. It's like you got to soak. And I believe that if we can provide an atmosphere where pastors don't have to think about the meeting, they don't have to think about what's going to happen tomorrow or at church, they can just be there and draw near to the Lord in the power of the Holy Spirit. I think it's going to prepare us for a whole new era in the world of meeting with God and bringing God to our congregations. So really highlighting that devotion, Steve Warren, is a big. Steve's written a book recently called Devotion.
Devoted.
Download it or get it from Amazon. But that's one of the highlights I'm looking for, Steve Warren.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know where I'd be today if it wasn't for, in my early years, doing exactly that, just to spend time in his presence. We've been coming down to Presence Conference and to our global conferences for the last 20 years. And I can't tell you that's how much that has shaped us. Yeah. It's rescued us in crisis moments. It's spoken words into us. Remember the first location we ever started was birthed out of a word we got at one of these conferences. We got faith to do a building project whilst at one of these conferences. I could go on, Pastor Phil. Yeah, you're right. Just soaking in the presence, getting a sense of God on our lives, shaping us, faith in our soul and spirit, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, so true.
I remember a conference we had in London where we had such a move of God. And I remember Josh Kelsey, who must have been like 10 or 11 years old, and Daniel, my son, and Joseph Pringle, and so many others, young men, and then younger ministers who were touched then, who as the years unraveled, they found that touch catapulted them into their destiny. And so I think if we can not just get ourselves there, but bring in our teenagers, and there is no youth meetings in this conference, which I think is awesome, because then all of our teenagers and young people and families will be together in the presence of the Lord. And it'll be just an awesome time for our kids to encounter God and get a word from the Lord, like you said, Steve, and actually start painting a picture in their minds of their future, and they'll get a vision for what God is going to do. I'm not sure how many of your families are coming. Steve Burgess from New Zealand. Steve came out of a youth movement called Primal in New Zealand, which was a great move of God. But what a time to get our youth alive in the presence of the Lord.
We really need to stimulate youth ministries all around the world. And, they're not next gen, they're now. So I think having them as a part of our gathering proper is important. I think it's important that we have our current profile of C3 represented at the event. So it's not just young, it's old, it's kids, it's people from Australia, New Zealand, America, Europe, yes, but also Asia, Africa. We want them all there because so many things happen in this kind of environment and in these moments. And this is really going to catapult us into the future that we have as a movement. It'll be an amazing shared experience. So you really want to be there. You don't want to just be hearing about it later on. You want to be in the room, experiencing it. We're going to have a great time together.
Yeah. I mean, I love that thing where Paul says in Romans, I long to see you that I may impart something to you, a spiritual gift. And I think being physically present is so important, even though online church and online services have become obviously more popular and needed and important and significant. However, there is a certain level of impartation that only happens when you're actually physically present in a place. And I know that when I've been traveling around the world a lot in the last couple of years, but I watch a lot of services online. And when I actually go to that church and I walk into the building, it is so much different. And because you feel the atmosphere and starting to soak in that is so important. And this is going to be an apostolic atmosphere, no doubt. On that first night, my plan is to get all the regional directors on the stage from around the globe, 64 different nations we're in, and to just display the multi-ethnic background from everywhere, the Middle East, Africa, Pacific Islanders, and to have the sounds like from Uganda, it is going to be absolutely amazing. Yeah. Rock, Mutageki's church is such a dancey, colorful church, and to have all of these regional directors on the stage, and we will pray over all of our regions and prophesy and speak into that whole conference so that it will affect these nations. We'll go back to our nations being effective for the Lord.
Pastor Phil, I think that one of the great privileges that we have is to get to see what C3 looks like all around the world. And, it's such an amazing thing. It's so much bigger than the average person in C3 appreciates. Well, here's a great chance to get a revelation of who we are as a movement. By coming along to this conference, you'll get a taste of the true globalness of our movement and what we're a part of together.
Yeah, it's been like a miracle from my point of view. It got away on us, if you like. I never anticipated a lot of the things that we see today. And when Paul says, like, he will do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think or dare to imagine, it is amazing. This is an exceedingly abundant miracle, way above what we imagined when we first started in Sydney. And God is doing this. And to do exactly what you just said, come and see look what the Lord has done, is an amazing thing. And I believe that this is, I know it's a cliche, but it's only just the beginning. And this is the start of a new era, because on the earth right now, we've got too much trouble and chaos for governments and policies to actually fix up. We have got to see a whole new generation of power ministries rise up. And I would like to think that we will see new apostles rising up who plant churches and spearhead whole moves of God in nations around the earth. I want to see evangelists rise up more than just about any other ministry in our movement. This ministry, the ministry of evangelists, is incredibly deeply needed in all of our churches to raise the level of the number of people coming to Christ every week in our services. And then prophets and teachers and pastors, to see the fivefold ministries, a whole new level of power, a whole new era of age groups in that area. And I'm believing that we will see those ministries emerge out of this conference. I'm determined to see power ministries rising in this hour, who are not just going to bring a message, but bring the power of God with healing, miracles, signs and wonders, and that will bring people to a place where they're gobsmacked, seeing what God can do in the earth. And I'm believing for that, Steve Warren. Amen.
Amazing. I remember our global conference. Maybe it was the first one in Singapore in 2002. 70 churches, I think, and we've been telling stories ever since. Now we've got 600. I think of the reason I want to see people there and the young people is because they're going to be telling the stories, the narrative, writing the narrative of this wonderful tribe C3. Of the future. They'll be telling stories of, do you remember the day we went to the global conference in Singapore and we only had 600 churches back then? And we were only in 63 nations then, but look at us now. And, business people who come along telling their stories in the future and going, let's transform my business. So I think getting the business guys there too in our churches is going to be not just transformational for them, transformational for us as a movement for the future.
So important to get our business leaders, our boards, and significant influences in our congregations to get them along. I think we will, and they could be part of that Pastors and Leaders Day. Jacob?
Yeah, we have a Pastors Day on Wednesday, and that's at 11 a.m. till 3 p.m. So that's just before the night sessions, which begin at 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. So yeah, that would be a great context for your key leaders, location pastors, senior pastors. That's going to be a really great download in that space.
And Mac Lake's in that?
Mac Lake is going to be at the Pastors Day, but also doing a session or two in the main conference.
Right. Now, there may be some business people who would like to come, or even pastors, but it's for some reason it's like just impossible. Even though they've done everything. But they could sponsor somebody, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously we have a lot of nations that can't necessarily afford to get to conference. And so what we have done is we actually have sponsorships available. So people are more than welcome to make a donation or sponsor somebody through our website. They can just do it all through a registration page. But if they're having any troubles with that, which they shouldn't, they can just email events@c3churchglobal.com. Just because, we are seeing a massive uptake. We've already had, I think it's close to over 100 people are going to get sponsored already through that funds that we have, which is amazing. So really exciting just to make sure that we can have lots of people getting there, and that we really don't want finances to be a massive barrier for them in attending.
So how would somebody take advantage of a sponsorship offer?
Yeah, so they would need to do it through their regional director or through their pastor. That's the best way to do it, because there's been certain amounts allocated through the regional directors.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad about that. And like you say, from some of the countries where pastors maybe think, I can't afford the airfare, I can't afford the registration. Well, the sponsorship could go to that level of providing airfares as well, and hotel accommodation, just to help these guys out, right?
So valuable.
Obviously, we can't guarantee that that's going to, that we can cover the whole amount, but definitely we can try to urge those people who have got the means to help some of these people around the nations of the earth to actually make their way there. That'll be fantastic. But also, it would be good for pastors to let their own people know over the next week or two that there's still an early bird deal happening until the 1st of February. How would they best do that in their churches? How would you do it, Steve?
Well, I think the best thing is to play some of the great media assets which are available to play in your church.
Where do you get those from?
They're all on our website and available on there.
Right.
Yep. And I think if you communicate it as a priority, people will catch your heart and come along for the adventure. I think as well, if you have one-on-one conversations with people that you particularly want there, I think that's really effective. So not just talking about it from the stage, but also talking one-on-one to people that you particularly want there, and just saying to them, look, this is going to be a great conference for you to catch something for the future, and now's the time to act. Now's probably the best time, I think, to register. Once you register, you're invested. You can get your flights, get your accommodation, all of that sorted. There's such a great range of accommodation deals in Singapore. But it's a new year. It's the year of the global conference. Now's the time to get onto it.
Yeah, I love that about the personal contact. I remember Jack Hayford started a men's ministry in his church, and he had something like 10,000 people in his congregation, and he made the announcement, and then he went back to his offices in church during the weekend. He made, I think, 40 phone calls to 40 men that he thought would be good to be there. So the Sunday morning came around when the men's conference, or the men's meeting, was to start, and you obviously know how many men turned up. 40. The 40 he had phoned. And admittedly, men are a little more challenging to get to be motivated about things. But the personal phone call is always the best way of actually inviting, and maybe even other pastors who are not sure whether they should come or not, or even other pastors who have been through whatever, maybe been through nothing, but you think they might like to enjoy being in this conference, because I know that I know already of several pastors who are not C3 who have registered and who are on their way. And so I think we can reach out all around and say, hey, you're welcome to come along.
Hey, Pastor Phil, there's also an opportunity for people to join the team as well. And that would be a great way to kind of upskill, to be a part of the world-class team. Maybe Jacob could tell us about a few of those areas.
Yeah, we've got so many opportunities for a team to join, because obviously this is a great opportunity to upskill, have new experience that might not be your standard Sunday experience. So we have production team roles, we have kids roles, we also have welcome team. So there's a whole different plethora of tasks and jobs available. They can also do that just by on our emails that we've sent out. There's actually a join the team link, which has all the information on there to give us what you'd be passionate about and what team you'd be interested in joining. And I think on that, Pastor Phil, is we also have a kids conference that is happening parallel to the main one. So this is obviously very much a family conference. So if you have kids between 3 and 12, we have a kids conference that is happening during the entire time of main conference. It's going to be incredible, lots of fun, inflatables, worship, and this is not just like a kids movie session every day. This is actually going to be incredible content where our kids will be able to really experience like the Holy Spirit, learn so much, make new international friends. It's going to be a great experience, not just for the adults, but for the kids as well.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled with this conversation, though, and I'm excited about the next couple of weeks of people registering, and then obviously beyond. It's not over on February the 1st. There's still tons of time to actually keep on registering and look for those sponsorships, reaching out to our team, encouraging our youth, all of that over these next few weeks to actually be part of this massive outpouring of the Holy Spirit that we're anticipating, where we're going to see so many new lives touched and a whole new generation of power ministries raised up to take the nations. Thanks, guys, for talking today. It's been an absolute pleasure catching up, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks, boss.
It's really amazing.
Bye.